Welcome to the Journey to Forever podcast, where we discuss the highs and lows of life and love. Join us, your hosts, Flo and
Joe,
for a weekly recalculation of our roots as we navigate the twists and turns with candid conversation, comfort food, and laughter. Welcome back, Forever family, to episode 2 of the Journey to Forever podcast. Today's topic is communication. Somehow I want to sing some sort of Sesame Street themed music, but I won't, because I know you've heard it a million times before on many interviews. I'm sure if you Google or you search on YouTube, you would hear numerous married couples say, the key is communication. Well, we're just going to add our voices to that chorus today and discuss this topic of communication. But before we hit the road on today's topic, you know what we do? We do a bit of reminiscing. Joe, you ready to go back?
Oh, yes, I am. Hi, folks.
Joe, got a story to share about a sports moment you watched on TV that gave you goosebumps?
Oh, most definitely. That was the year 2006. It was June. That, as you all know, that's the time for the World Cup. And our little twin island were in the World Cup. Yes, we were. As small as we are, our 1.3 million, we made it to the World Cup. And my cousin was one of the members of that team. And he almost scored. I believe the whole country got to their feet at that moment. So that is the greatest moment in sport for me that I will never forget. It's absolutely great.
Yeah, that World Cup was memorable because I remember my mother and my uncles coming home in tears back in 1989 when we almost made it in. So when we actually got to the World Cup in 96, right, in Germany? I think it was.
16.
Or I can't remember. No, France was 98.
No, 89 was the World Cup.
Yes, that we shed tears.
1989, we shed tears.
Right. France was 98 when I fell in love with Thierry Henry, right? And then when we actually made it into the World Cup was that then 2006, Germany 2006.
Yes,
does that sound right?
2006.
So is that the World Cup you're talking about?
Yes, that's the World Cup I'm talking about.
Jeez, wow. We have so many World Cup stories. We had to go back in time. That was definitely reminiscent.
Great time. Okay, now it's time for your question.
Sure.
Got a story to share about being so hot or so cold you'll never forget it?
Definitely. I am going to focus on the so cold portion of that question and go back to 1993. And my mom and I traveled to New York. It was spring, or so they said, because it didn't feel like spring to me. It felt like winter. I remember walking through the streets of Manhattan and the wind just hitting me straight in the face to the point where my sinuses dried up and they were hurting. After a week, I said, Mom, I really need to go back home. I couldn't spend another week there because our trip was originally planned for 2 weeks. I had to head back home. If you know me, you know I'm an island girl. I love me some sunshine. Yep. So now that we've got the reminiscent out of the way, let's get down to business. Communication. I'm going to look you in the eye and talk about communication.
Let's hear what you have about communication.
Well, I must say that I've come a long way in terms of communicating in relationships. And because of that, I'm going to take a rear view mirror approach and a future focus approach. Just imagine that you're in a car and you're with us listening to this episode now. Right? So for my first lesson, my review on this lesson is that I basically didn't know how to ask for love. And some people may be wondering, like, but should you really have to ask for love in a relationship? Well, I think of it like this. When you have a baby and that child is pretty young before they can speak, they usually cry to get the parents' attention. And over time, the parents learn to discern, well, this cry means the pamper needs changing. This cry means I'm hungry. This other cry means I'm tired, I'm sleepy. Or this other cry just means I just want attention. Just pay attention to me. So for me, I didn't know how to articulate my words, so I would just lash out. And by lash out means I would just get upset, and sometimes I would sulk. And ladies, they would ask, what's wrong? And your response would be, oh, nothing. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Oh, nothing. So over time, I learned to speak and, voice my concerns and communicate, right? So future focus, I definitely had to learn how to articulate my feelings. And again, that only comes through experience. I learned what I liked, what I didn't like, what my boundaries were. And for me, it was very clear in having those early conversations in a relationship and establishing the boundaries. Like, these are the things that I can live with. Because I'm not going to tell you, I need you to this, that, and the other. Just live within the boundaries. We know each other's boundaries, and that should help us be able to articulate what we need or what we don't need.
I believe, from a man's point of view, sometimes as men, we do need that I need you too. Not always. It's not that then, because we are not babies, we don't need it every day. But sometimes we just need it. We are oblivious to certain things that you all find to be very important at the moment. Not that we don't find it important, but it basically goes over our head like, okay, I have no idea what's going on here. So sometimes we do need the I need you to keep us in line, for lack of better words.
Okay, you want to give an example? You're not talking about the garbage, right?
No.
Not honey, I need you to take out the garbage.
Nah, we should know that hey, every 2 days or every day or whatever, we need to take out the garbage. That's a natural fact. But to give you an example, like, I don't really have an example. Put me on the spot there.
But, okay, I just get the sense that something occurred in the past that, or you may have remembered something that is like, oh, like that time. I'm not saying relate the exact experience, but just what it was. Okay. I get you. Ladies, drop a comment. If you have had reason to say, honey, I need you too, give us some examples. Any comments on our Instagram, Journey to Forever TT. Maybe that might help trigger Joe's memory.
Yeah, I have to have a particular situation for me to give my 2 cents at this point in time.
Okay.
But maybe then when you all drop the comments, I will be able to comment on those comments.
Right. I'm sure we have a good laugh at the feedback. All right. So point number 2, rear view for me was in the middle of a heated argument, I would always get defensive. I don't know. It could be for something simple. Somebody might begin saying something and it's not to be hurtful or demeaning, but I would always get defensive without listening fully to what the person had to say. It's almost like they start to talk and you just sitting waiting. You're waiting, ready to rebut. It's one of those things. Or if you ever snuck up on somebody and they spit around, the eyes wide shut, the eyes wide open, and like, oh, what do you mean? So I remember being very, very defensive and always ready to jump back at the person, almost like a jep, as opposed to being patient and listening. So for me, a good example of what I do now, because I think now I am more focused on being understood and understanding my partner rather than winning an argument. The one and only time we fell out, and it was over something really, really simple, because I just asked a question, a simple question. What time? And then the response was something far off from what time. And I was like, what? And I went, I walked off because I was very disappointed. I'm like, I was speaking English. Anyway, we had a disagreement about that. And in seeing Joe's response to it, I was like, what is happening here? What? This was a simple question. What's going on? And for me, the pain on his face, or the confusion, I should say, was like, yeah, but is this really worth it? Like, this was a simple question. We literally had war now off of a very simple question. I was like, pause, relax, reset. All I was trying to do was understand what time we're going to, guess what, ladies and gentlemen, record the podcast.
Yes. She got caught up in emotion because doing this podcast is very important to her. And at that moment, I did not respond as clearly or as fast as she wanted. So it took off faster than a Ferrari. 0 to 100 real quick. So I was confused, like, why? And by me being confused, asking, like, why are you so vexed? Enraged her even more. So it went on. It wasn't too long of an argument, though. Only about an hour.
I don't even think it was that long, was it? To me, it was like 15 minutes.
Because that argument went in stages. It's like, guys, when you go, they have the argument, then she gets really quiet, and you now wondering, okay, how am I going to fix this? So you go and ask, so what happened? Why are you so, you start with, why are you so, okay, the heat just hit the roof? You fellas, if ever you want to find out anything, start with, okay, darling, I'm wrong. How could I fix this? Do not ask why. Do not, do not start with why. That's all I can advise. But we worked it out. We spoke after we calmed down a lot. I mean, a lot. We had to go like almost frigid. But it was good. Eventually we knew why that happened, what was the reason for it. And there really was no cause to get there at all. None. But that is where we come to the topic today, communication, how important it is to avoid those silly arguments.
Yes. So that was an important lesson for me in seeking understanding as opposed to winning an argument. Because there was no need for an argument. I would admit that. There was no need. But in me not getting the response I wanted, I felt as though my query or my concern was not being treated with importance. And yeah, you could tell yourself, all right, but it was simple. It's like, babe, it's really important to me. Let's just set a time. That's all that was needed. But instead, I went, as Joe said, 0 to 100. So I learned my lesson.
Yeah, I believe it was just a difference in our personalities. She's the more excited and, how can I put it, in control one, like to have a schedule and keep times, and I'm more laid back, quiet, go with the flow kind of guy. Catch that one, go with the, all right. So, yeah, it was like that. So that was the difference in our personalities clashed at that moment. So, but it was worked out because we communicated and spoke like rational adults.
Yes. See, I'm growing on proof. Proof I'm not acting like a baby anymore. All right. My third one is bringing up arguments of the past. Because, oftentimes how we would be in the middle of a conversation and you would interject, oh, remember when? Why? And I remember the first time someone said to me, so if I did that 2 weeks ago or a month ago, why did you not say something at that point in time? But for me, it was almost like building up my stockpile of ammunition. It's like, I will save this for the next time. You're sitting, waiting, ready to throw rocks at your significant other. And that, like, reflecting on it now, that seems so childish. Like, why would you do that? Don't you want to have a relationship with this person? Why would you want to stockpile your ammunition, so to speak?
Basically, all it is to win future arguments.
I know. So now for me, I see the benefit in having the conversation right then and there. Because if you've ever been in a long-term relationship, sometimes when you drop that, remember when the other person would somehow say, I don't remember that, or that's not how I remember it. And you now focus more on the difference of your memory about the situation as opposed to discussing it right then and there in the moment, so that you can come to a clear understanding as to where you stand on that particular issue. So for me, it's like, garden rocks, not necessary, no rock throwing here. Like the previous point, it's not about winning the argument, it's about seeking understanding. So yeah, for me, it's now focus on discussing the issue at the point in time. Now, I'm not saying in the middle of a party or in the middle of a gathering where there are other people present, you call somebody out. That's not what it is. But, within the 24 hours of something happening, have that conversation. At least, hopefully, it's fresh in the person's memory.
Yes, it's most important, because as men, we forget things like that. When you bring it up, the next day is like, huh? And then like, oh, all right. Because we blow past, we never even realize. The most thing we keep details in is sports and few other things. I wouldn't mention it. Few other things. But yeah, we don't really keep details in basic conversations or things that happen during the day. We blow past that because most of us are not that emotional to hold these things and realize, okay, this is what is happening at the moment, or this is what happened 2 minutes ago. To us, okay, it happened, fine, pass, moving on. I guess that's just how we were. Genetics, that's the best word I could find for it. Genetics. It's just inbred in us. Go out there, hunt, gather, feed the family, move on. Everybody smiling, we happy. So yeah, that's it. Folks, just let your significant other, whoever, it doesn't have to be a significant other, know what hurts you at that point in time, or even what excites you at that point in time. So it's good. It's all part of communicating with the other person, communicating with the world.
I like that. What excites you? That's true. A good balance of, okay, this is what I like. You did that well. Praise. Woo! And then, so that when you do bring up the things that irk you, was they say your partner mash your corn, they don't feel as though you're always pointing out the negative things. I like that, Joe. Thanks for reminding me to be positive.
Yes, because usually we already get that at our jobs.
Ooh.
Okay, let's go.
Yes, let's move along. Because like you have some things on your chest that you need to get off. So we'll move right along to things to eat. Let's focus on feeding our bellies at this point in time. So, do you have a question for us?
Oh yes. The question is, how far would you go to satisfy that craving for your favorite food?
Oh, you're sending me back to reminisce now. Because I'm thinking of pre-COVID times, back when we could have easily gone to the airport, hop on a plane and fly anywhere in the world. I would have gone to Italy. I'm thinking about the eat portion of the Eat, Pray, Love journey. Yeah, you ladies, you know what I'm talking about. Enjoying some good pizza, some pasta, some gelato. Oh, I wish I could do that right about now. I'm willing to fly just to have that authentic experience. Sadly, I have to be satisfied with local fare now.
Don't get us wrong, people. Local food where we live is awesome.
I agree.
It has been said that we have the best food in the world. It has been said by visitors. This is not just us.
Okay.
This is by visitors. So maybe one day you all can come and experience it in the Caribbean. Try it out. But I would go, okay, let's say I'm not as patient as Flo to take a flight to go get food. I usually need my satisfaction within a couple hours. Probably an hour to go get it and an hour to come back home to enjoy it. And for that food, it would be barbecue. I did that a couple times, all hours of the night. Took an hour to get there and an hour to get back home, just to sit and enjoy the best barbecue I've ever had. And I'm still open to others, but right now it's the best I've ever had.
Because I'm real surprised you didn't say roti.
No. I am an equal opportunity kind of guy, but roti is accessible. My favorite roti is accessible, folks.
Okay. You don't have to drive an hour.
No, I don't have to drive an hour. 15 minutes and it's in hand.
All right. So you guys know how much we love food. We've said before, we are lovers of our belly.
Yes.
So we move into our last segment. So Joe, what's filled your love tank this week?
Oh, my love tank was filled by you. Folks, I am a lover of roti, which is curry, a flatbread with curry inside, curry potato, chana, chicken. And this week, my love tank was filled by Flo. She went out with her mom and they got roti. And she saved it for me. She saved me her roti. So I could not have asked for much more on that day. It was lovely, folks. That really, wow. To give me your roti, that is, love don't get more than that.
Yes, I had the leftovers. Happily though, because they were good leftovers.
Thank you. What filled your love tank this week?
When you actually interrupted your football viewing to make time to record the podcast, that made me smile. Given the fact that we've discussed earlier in this episode that it was a sore point at a particular point in time. So I really felt happy that you recognize how important it was for me. And I got a bit of lani up as well because you brought me plantains. Those who know me know that I love some plantains.
Platanos.
Yes, platanos. We have to have plantains. So, I'm satisfied.
Love tanks filled.
Love tanks filled. So guys, let us know your communication lessons, your communication sore points, and you can do that by commenting below the episode artwork on our Instagram. It's Journey to Forever TT. Or if you want to communicate by sending us a voice message, you can do that via direct message on Instagram as well. Please subscribe, and as always, we welcome your feedback. Thank you for listening.
Nice having you folks. Have a great one.
Bye.